I had no idea the British press was so bigoted.
This one's wife. Nobody wants to know you. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife is increasingly unpopular. And do you think as a consequence of that, she sings, "Nobody likes me, everybody hates me. Guess I'll go eat worms. Big, fat, juicy ones, long, thin, slimy ones, itsy bitsy fuzzy wuzzy worms. Down goes the first one, down goes the second one. Oh, how they wiggle and squirm. Big, fat, juicy ones, long, thin, slimy ones, itsy bitsy fuzzy wuzzy worms. Up comes the first one, up comes the second one. Oh, how they wiggle and squirm. Big, fat, juicy ones, long, thin, slimy ones, itsy bitsy fuzzy wuzzy worms. Nobody likes me, everybody hates me. Guess I'll go eat worms." Of course she doesn't. Why? Because although she recognises that some people don't like her, she still thinks that lots of people really do like her. And as I've explained to you on countless occasions, the fact that some people don't like her, well, she just determines them to be lunatics, haters and racists, and doesn't therefore pay any attention to what they actually are stating. She will argue against it as guest speaker below the line in the New York Post, but she cannot fathom, because her narcissism will not allow her to do it, that she is unlikable. But this lack of likability and decreasing popularity has reduced her circle. This is reported by Catherine Tinsley, writing for the Royal Observer. That runs with the headline, "This one's wife and Prince Harry's A-list inner circle is getting smaller and smaller." Well, one might question, was there one to begin with? But let's find out what's stated. This one's wife and Prince Harry quickly transitioned from being working royals to chasing their dreams in Tinseltown, but it looks like less people want to hang out with them, according to an ex-royal staffer. Harry and this one's wife's circle is getting smaller and smaller. I think the A-list stars are dropping like flies. Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, former butler Paul Burrell told an outlet. Some already have done. Oprah no longer seems involved with them, and some other celebrities have also dropped them. Back in the day, the A-listers were riding on the moment. Harry and this one's wife were the most popular couple in the country at one time, when they got married, but there's since been a decline, he continued. According to Phil Dampier, the Duke of Sussex cut ties with his pals from the UK. Not only has he lost his family, his royal status and military connections, but he's also lost a lot of friends, Dampier shared. I get the impression he hasn't got a circle of drinking buddies he can unwind with in Monteshit Show, which is a population of older people, and I'm sure that takes its toll. He is dependent on this one's wife for his social life, which is precisely how her narcissism wants it. And for someone who was used to being one of the lads, as he was in the army, that must affect his mental health, he added. OK, previously reported through royal biographer Katie Nicholl, who discussed Harry's new reality in California after he skipped Hugh Groven's wedding. Harry's living a wonderful life and a life he's always wanted to live, Nicholl told Kinsey Schofield on her Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered podcast. And I thought that's really wonderful to hear, really pleased to hear that. But I'm sure there must be moments like this when he would have just got on a plane with or without this one's wife and come over for a big society wedding like this if he and his brother were actually on talking terms. The suggestion is that their A-list circle is getting smaller. It's just a tidbit of information, really, that's provided by Paul Burrell, but it does bear out. After all, if this one's wife was hanging with the A-list, you bet your bottom dollar that she would be telling us all about this. That there would be the staged paparazzi shots showing her with said A-listers. That she would organise for it to appear in the puff pieces. Indeed, quite possibly arranging for them to be able to speak to her and said A-lister when they're attending a particular event. She would want the world to know. I mean, she's attempted to do so previously by claiming that Katy Perry attended Lilibet's third birthday party, even though all the evidence suggests that was simply not possible. That she suggested she was out for dinner with Cameron Diaz, even though we actually saw the picture that showed Cameron Diaz just happened to be outside with this one's wife walking past in the background. It's that kind of magical thinking that the narcissist is well known for. This one's wife looks towards Hollywood and its celebrities and thinks, that's where I belong. She has wanted that for such a long time. And when she came back from the United Kingdom, she seriously thought that she could just slot into the A-list, everybody would love her, everybody would want to know her, that she'd be offered parts in blockbuster movies, and that the world would be her oyster. What she didn't factor in is that people grew very tired, very quickly, of her victim moaning, and the fact is that ultimately you wouldn't give her a part because she's not got any talent, and she isn't likeable. And those in the A-list have worked very hard to get to where they have done so. It's often far from apparent that that's the case, but it is. And they don't like the idea of this one's wife with her sharpened elbows coming along and saying, I'm one of you too. It sticks in their craw. Thus, not only do they find her an individual that they don't want to bother with, but her manner of trying to associate with them is found to be singularly repugnant. In the circumstances, very few bothered with her to begin with, and those that did have soon realised that you can't trust her, that she's unreliable, and that you risk being tainted by association with her. Hence, this circle's getting smaller and smaller. Now, what would a narcissist ordinarily do in such circumstances? Well, it is the case that certain narcissists find themselves exposed as a consequence of their behaviour, and sometimes certain victims go some way to trying to expose the narcissist's behaviour to other people. Such exposure isn't to be recommended, for a variety of reasons appertaining to emotional thinking, the risk of being hoovered, the risk of adverse consequences, etc., which I've explained in different videos. But the point is this, that with such exposure, there'll be some people who won't believe it. They're on the side of the narcissist. There'll be some people that will believe it. Good for you. You've opened their eyes to what the narcissist is. And there'll be a large group who'll go, very interesting, and then will be more focused on their own lives because they have things that they have to deal with in their own lives which ultimately are more important to them than the spat between the victim and the narcissist. Nevertheless, there are occasions where exposure occurs. It might be, for instance, that something is posted on social media that catches the eye of the populace and thus it goes viral, demonstrating the unpleasant behaviour of the narcissist. In some instances, it might even get picked up by mainstream media and be reported on. In other instances, it might be caught up in the jungle drums within a community, so that the behaviour of the narcissist becomes well known. This is problematic, of course, for the narcissist. Take, for instance, a narcissist who has misbehaved within his community. He's been cheating repeatedly on his wife, being a douche canoe to his friends, and eventually people start to join the dots. Those people speak to one another and basically say, he's been like that to you too. Maybe some of the people he's had an affair with connect and speak to the wife also. She kicks him out, and because it's a small community, word soon spreads of his behaviour. The word narcissist is utilised. He's been exposed, and the fact that many people see his poor behaviour and the fact that they've labelled him a narcissist is quite clearly a significant threat to his control. What does he do? Well, most of the time it'll be a case of upping sticks and going finding somewhere else to go to. He will move to a different community where he isn't heard of and starts the process again. Thus, the initial community gets rid of the narcissist, a win for them, and the narcissist has fresh pastures to exploit, a win for him. In the context of somebody who might be exposed in a larger environment, say for instance a city, that just tends to be a drop in the ocean, and ultimately the narcissist is able to stay where they are. They just focus on a different group compared to the one that they've been exposed to. It is less likely the case that they will move. But for this one's wife, Such exposure of her unpleasantness and the reduction in her A-list inner circle, as described by the Royal Observer, is particularly problematic because there has been the double-edged sword. She has courted, of course, international fame, which means that her name is known around the planet. But with that, it also means that there are lots and lots and lots of people who not only don't like her, but regularly scrutinise her behaviours, call out her lies, and ridicule her. It's a little bit difficult to evade a populace of a planet. Thus, the difficulty that she's got is that while she might try and shift groupings at a local level, at a international level, there's nowhere for her to go. People are already aware of what she is, how she behaves, and express their disapproval. Now, the point is, she's always going to be able to find some supporters somewhere. Not everybody will turn their backs on her. There are always going to be some people who are just basically so entrenched in their support of the individual, often for their own reasons, for their own agendas, or some people who are basically thick as mince that they can't see it, that notwithstanding the presentation of condemning and persuasive evidence, they continue to support this individual. Thus, she can rely on those, but they're not necessarily going to give her what she needs. Those supporters won't be from within the A-list. Those supporters are unlikely to be famous celebrities. And the loss of the ability to interact with this circle certainly pains her because she believes that she should be amongst it. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.